We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Couples Academy Show. My name is Hassani. I'm in the saddle by myself today, but it's just you and me and the rest of the world. And we're glad to have you this morning. Today is Tuesday. Hopefully you're still kind of operating in the residue of Valentine's Day. And for many of you, it is the start of a brand new life. It represents the first day of the rest of your life. And all you needed was that reset button. And so we're going to continue in that fashion by building on top of your relationship to give you what you need. Now, before we get into today's topic, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because there's so many people in your community who need to know the power of the messages that we get a chance to talk about together. So push the notification button if you're not already subscribed, so that you know when we go live, and share it with the world so that the world around us can become a better place. Listen, this Friday, we're excited. We're just a few days away. We have the last chance weekend. People are calling, they're registering. Everything is taking control, and we want you to be a part of that experience. It is not too late. We have a slot left, so you make sure you get in and do what you have to do to restore your relationship. That's what we're talking about. Listen, guys, I'm going to I don't have my glasses on. I'm going to do the best I can, but I just want to acknowledge some of the family members who are here. So we have JG from California, Ronald Clark from Tennessee. All right, Gigi and Montoya and Ronald and JD, Ralph, Gracious Diva and Angel, and many more will be coming on. But today we want to talk about a topic that I think is very important, because so many people have lost hope. So many people have been through pain in their relationship and are trying to figure out how to get things back on track. You've lost your hope. You've lost your belief that it will get any better. But I'm here to tell you that it can happen for you, because it's happening for so many other couples. There's a particular couple on my mind and on my heart this morning that I wanted to share their story with you. They were hopeless. They were helpless. They were ready to throw in the towel and call it quits. And so they decided to do something different. See, because when you do the same, you get more of the same. But when you do the opposite of what you've always done, you'll get a completely different experience and reality for your life. And they're walking, talking, living, breathing testimonies of what happens when you put in the work, when you're on the brink of disaster. So let's go hear what they had to say that was pivotal for them as they overcame, because we're talking about how to have a better marriage after infidelity. Check this out. Turn music off. Great job.
Prior to counseling with Couples Academy, I filed for divorce. I didn't believe in marriage, much less any relationship. I didn't want one. I hit my lowest low. I wouldn't go to work for a while. It was just a really tough time. And I realized there's a lot of things that I didn't know about marriage, because it doesn't come with a book.
Right.
So we were given a lot of tools that we could work with, things that I didn't know that you were supposed to know, because no one actually tells you this. You just think you love somebody and you get married and that's enough. And boy, were we wrong. We're a lot happier now, and now I feel like we have a foundation which is strong. And it's not only just friendship and love, it's something much deeper and much stronger. It's just the different type of things that you just need to know in marriage. And I'm happy, I'm very happy, and I'm just thankful, because if it wasn't for the counseling at Couples Academy, we would not be together, and my kids wouldn't have a father, and I'm pregnant, and so Again. So it worked out. It worked out, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
Not all counselors are made equally.
And I was gonna say too, the brother's fair. Like everybody think, he's gonna take one side, you think no. he's fair. And I had to respect that. I didn't even want to do counseling. And most men don't, but I wanted my family, so I was willing to do what it took, and I'm glad she chose my man here, Sonny. So come with an open mind and be honest, and it'll work.
Amen.
That's how it works for us, and I'm glad. So yeah. Go ahead.
I just love it. I love it. I love it when so many people have that type of testimony and have that type of experience. And guess what? You are won over by the testimonies of other people. And this is why we do what it is that we do every single day. Lisa Borders, I believe, is asking the question, well, how do we find out more about this weekend experience? All you need to do is go in the description. Guys, every time you tune in, everything you're looking for, access to the website, links to events, links to some of the products that we offer are all in the description of the video. Start clicking away. You can see many more testimonials of couples who've had a transformational experience by what we've brought them through. And this weekend is the last chance weekend. So make sure you sign up. It's not too late. There's space just for you. But we're talking today about how to have a better marriage after an affair. And we want you to know that overwhelmingly, many couples can experience that, because what happens is when an affair occurs, it exposes what was going on either inside of the person, what was going on inside of the relationship, or a combination of the two. And so therefore, when you take a deeper dive and you take a different look, you begin to realize what was wrong in the first place that may have led to the affair. One of the things we talk about is this. Listen, nations are destroyed a multitude of ways, right? So either they're outside enemies who come in to invade and they seize governments, take over leaderships, topple everything, and now they're in control, outside enemies. Or nations fall from within, right? Whether economic collapse, political unrest, whatever the case may be. But relationships are the same way. So relationships can fall because of outside enemies who come in, infidelity, inappropriate relationships, close call relationships, or they fall from within when there's emotional disconnection, where there's turmoil and bickering. And when a relationship is vulnerable, it increases the probability of outside enemies coming in. So my point is, it shines a light of what was wrong in the relationship in the first place. And so what we want to do is take some steps to get us in a better place in our marriage. Step number one, reverse engineer your relationship. Like, start out where you are today. If you're not in a good place, go all the way back in reverse to the beginning. How did it begin? Take those steps back, because you'll see where you've kind of gone off course and gone in a direction that wound you up in a place of desperation today, because it wasn't always like this. Matter of fact, when it first started out, I'm sure it was wonderful. It was great. You were connected. You were spending quality time together. You had great conversation. The intimacy was amazing. And then something happened that caused the shift. Now, that shift may have happened within you as an individual, or a dynamic within a relationship that no longer was the way it once was. And when you can intellectually take a look at what happened, it gives you a clue into what you need to do to begin to restore your relationship. So reverse engineer it. If you're going to be successful in any area of life, you have to reverse engineer to figure out how you got where you currently are. Then you want to write a list. What was working and what was not working? Here's a great practical step that you could take. Take out a sheet of paper, and on one side, write down all the things that are working in your relationship, and write down all the things that are not working. And so what was not working was possibly your communication patterns. What was not working possibly were your emotional reactions. What was not working possibly was the way that you manage your finances. What was not working was possibly the way that you establish your schedule, where you prioritize work and ministry and extracurricular and friends over your relationship. When you have a list of all the things that are not working and you no longer do what you once did, it puts you in a better place. But you also want to figure out what was working. Where do we connect? What is our secret sauce? What makes this relationship work? When you begin to tap into that, then all of a sudden you have a formula that you can begin to work. Listen, guys, it's really practical. I think what happens a lot of times, we bring so much emotion into the situation and our minds become clouded and we can't see what is right in front of us. But when we peel back the layers and we look at things in a practical way, we can see what is available for us. Listen, guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. You may have questions. Make sure you post your questions. We want to read your comments in the next section. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Couples Academy show. Listen, some of you are right now are looking for help. You're looking for something to take your life to the next pitch in your journey. All you need to do is reach out to us. Just set up a free discovery call. Go to couplesacademy.org or reach out at 678-200-8996. We would love to assist you with whatever it is that you're going through. If your spouse is not ready to join this journey with you, you can start alone, because we know traditionally that when one starts a process, eventually the other partner gets on board and you're in the saddle together. And so don't wait looking at your spouse for him or her to get themselves together. Get yourself together, lead your life, and make a difference for you, and you will make a difference for your marriage. We're talking about how to have a better relationship after the affair. And so we want to go deeper into this. One of the things that you can do next is learn from the affair. Now, this sounds weird. This sounds strange. Why would I want to take the time to learn anything about this affair? Because you may discover things that existed in that dynamic that once used to exist in yours, but no longer does. We talk about this all the time, the language of attraction and the language of seduction. So in the very beginning of your relationship, you had the language of attraction because you did the things that naturally attracted you, or you attracted yourself to your partner. You had that time, you were looking good for each other, you were putting your best foot forward, you had a sweet, wonderful, caring, giving personality, you were willing to do things. And here's the deal, we talk about this all the time, the two personalities we have within us. We have the giver and the taker. Early in the relationship is the giver. That person says, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make you happy, even if it makes me unhappy. And I'm going to do this because I love you. But then over the course of time, the taker rises up in the relationship, and the taker says, I'm willing to do whatever makes me happy, even if it makes you unhappy. Do you see the shift? Do you see the pivot? And oftentimes we are willing to accommodate. We are willing to go along with. We're willing to let things flow, to be easy, to come together, to find compatibility with the person that we're in a relationship with. Well, guess what? An affair is a relationship. And that's when you see people typically reverting back to those behaviors that you had in your relationship. So when was the last time you were caring and giving and loving? When was the last time that you spent quality conversation on the phone? When was the last time that you dressed up for each other and went out on dates? When was the last time that you did all of these things? And so even though an affair is an escape, even though an affair is a fantasy, there are elements of an affair. There's chemistry between two people. There's things that you can begin to unearth and discover and begin to realize that were working well that you can bring into your relationship, because what you stopped doing, that became the language of seduction, where someone else was able to draw your partner in or yourself into a situation. We got a question that I wanted to address, and it says, what do you do when you feel like your spouse puts more effort into the affair than they do into the marriage? And this is typically what we see. See, the reality is there was a passion, there was an intensity, there was a desire in the beginning of your relationship. And because you had this burning desire within you, you were willing to spend all of your time, energy, and effort with the object of your desire. But what happens is when disappointments and setbacks and frustrations and misunderstandings and arguments and all of these things begin to take place in the relationship, all of a sudden your desire is diminished and diminished and diminished until it gets down to zero. And so it's hard to now want to put effort in. It's hard to want to do the things to keep the relationship intact when you don't feel a certain type of way. And this is why there's a major difference between your marriage and your relationship, because this is what we're hearing. Listen, you want to stay in the marriage, but you're not willing to do anything to make the relationship better. And there's a major difference between your marriage and your relationship. The marriage is your lifestyle. The marriage is the way that you do life together. It's the way you parent your children. It's the way you pay your bills. It's the home you have. It's the things that you do throughout the course of your life. But that is very different than the relationship within the marriage. And so what we're seeing is that, listen, I agreed to allow you to remain in this marriage, but you're putting no time, energy, and effort into the relationship. And we're just as bad off today as we were before. So therefore, what motivation do I have to continue to go if you're not willing to put in on this relationship? The relationship is the heartfelt connection between two individuals, and it requires an investment in something. And so I think a lot of times, because people don't want their lifestyles shifted and changed, and they don't want to start from scratch, they're willing to do anything to hang on to this marriage, even though they have a weakened, destroyed, tattered relationship. And so the only way, see, this is where we have to be clear about what we want. The only way to stay in this marriage is if we invest the time in this relationship. So we're not committing to doing more of the same. We're committing to watching this show every morning. We're committing to reading a book. We're committing to go to a seminar. We're committing to put the energy and the effort in to invest in the relationship so that it protects the security of the marriage. Are you seeing the difference? And so the reason why someone will put more energy into an affair than into their marriage is because they've lost their motivation, their desire, their focus, their vision for what it is that they ultimately want within the confines of that marriage. Or maybe they're staying in that marriage for selfish reasons. And so that's why we have to get realigned again and figure out what we as a couple really do want. Because if it's not mutually beneficial for both parties involved, if we're making the decision to stay, then what in the world are we doing this for? Listen, guys, we're talking about how to have a better relationship or better marriage after infidelity. We have more segments coming up, but we want to hear from you. If you have any questions, post them in there. Let's get to it. This is the Couples Academy Show. Be right back. Sign up today for the Better Marriage Club and receive exclusive access to the private Facebook group to get your questions answered and your problems solved. Access to our marriage library of live seminars. Watch the Couples Academy Daily Show. Call the help hotline for laser coaching. Get our weekly action guides and receive a private one-on-one call with one of our marriage coaches. To join the Better Marriage Club, simply text MARRIAGE to 973-490-4668. Join today. Your marriage deserves it. All right, so guys, we're back. You're watching the Couples Academy Show. We have a comment. We're going to go straight to it. Angel says, and I'm going to try to read this. It's hard to reverse engineer our story. I met my husband while he was working. Couple days later, we met up, got pregnant, got married 3.5 years later. Hubby had an affair, now working through this patch. Well, you just gave a story. You can reverse engineer that. Absolutely. I don't care whether you've been in a relationship for 10 years and decided to say I do, or whether you've been dating somebody for 6 months and jumped over that broom and now you're married. You can reverse engineer it. And that's why it takes ongoing conversation. See, it's not enough to just have one talk. And this is where the struggle is, right? Because if a betrayal has happened, one of the partners, they just don't want to talk about it. They just want to move forward. But sometimes insight, clarity is given or received when you're having ongoing dialogue about where things went wrong. Because if you don't have a clear understanding of how things went wrong, where things went wrong, when things went wrong, it keeps you in a place where you're stuck and you can't move forward. You want to move forward, but you just don't know how. You just can't figure it out. And this is why it is so important for couples to be there for each other in this recovery process phase. And communication is absolutely one of the most important things that you have to do to get over that hurdle. Like if you just want to move forward and assume that, you know what, things would be better now, we don't have to address the past, you're moving in the opposite direction. It does not work like that. And so to have a better marriage after an affair, it requires intentionality, where you're willing to sit in the pit of your pain, when you're willing to be comfortable with being uncomfortable long enough so that you can get through the struggles that you've been having, because who wants to continue to sign up for more of the absolute same? We have another question that says, what do you think about people who divorce after one affair? What do I think about it? I think it happens all the time. I think that my question would be, what was done that led to that decision? For instance, of course, an affair is what led to that decision, but what was done from the time that they discovered it to the time that they divorced? A lot of times people are not willing to listen to reason. They're not willing to listen to wisdom. They're not willing to go out and get the help. Sometimes we have a knee-jerk reaction to just leave, or maybe they've done everything that they knew how to do and got the help and got the support, but you didn't have two willing participants. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, you have to understand, biblically speaking, you have a right to leave. You do. Now, God does desire reconciliation. He wants to redeem the relationship, and that requires that both of you have to show up a certain way, but there's got to be a willingness on the parts of those individuals to get beyond what they've gone through. We've known people who have had one affair, it ended in a divorce. We've known others. There have been multiple affairs throughout the course of a 10, 15, 20-year span, and they're still together today. So I think everybody has a different tolerance level. Everybody has a different value system. Everyone has a different willingness to do what it takes and what's necessary to restore the relationship. And so every situation is a case by case. So it's kind of hard to answer some of those questions without knowing some of the details of what has happened in that relationship. But I will say, if you've experienced an affair, I don't want you to feel like your relationship is doomed and things can't get better, because we know too many people who have come over on the other side and have had a better relationship as a result of a recovery process. And it goes to our next point, and that is to become an explorer. See, once you decide to become an explorer, you're entering uncharted territory. You're saying, I don't want to continue to sign up for more of the same. I don't want the relationship that we've had. I want to do something significantly different. So I'm willing to become a different version of myself, a better version of myself, so that we can have a different dynamic within the relationship. And in order to do that, you've got to hold to a vision. Like who would get in a car and decide to fill up their tank of gas and just drive, not knowing where they're going? Who would get on a plane, pack a bag, right, and get on a plane and have no clue where you're going? Before you can take a journey, you've got to understand what the final destination is. There's got to be a specific target. And so maybe you're in that place of desperation, hopelessness, and helplessness, and you can't see beyond today. Well, you've got to get crystal clear about your vision. You've got to get crystal clear about your why for staying. You've got to get crystal clear about your final destination, because when you're you're clear about your destination, then the journey makes sense because you know where you're going. But if you're wandering in life with blindfolds on, going in different directions, don't know what you're doing, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to want to throw in the towel, call it quits, and just give up because there's no clear path to where it is that you're going. And even if there is no path, it doesn't matter. You've got to have a destination point. And so this is why it's so important to sit down with your partner and to ask your partner, fine, you want to be in this marriage. Tell me why. What is it that you want? Because obviously there was a betrayal. There was a breach of trust. There was something that you felt you were missing, but now you want to stay. So what clarity do you now have that you didn't have before? What are you willing to do now that you did not do before? How are you willing to show up now in a way that you did not show up before? What is the ultimate goal and destination of us still being together? And if you're unclear and if you're uncertain, you will struggle. But when you have a strong determination because your vision is crystal clear, you will do anything that it takes to get to that destination because you've got clarity. Imagine having a camera and looking through a lens and it's blurry and you can barely see 3 feet in front of you. It's difficult to have any belief or any hope in what you're doing. But the more you focus that thing and the more you can see to your final destination. See, that's the key. One thing about the eagle, this is why I love the eagle. An eagle can see 2 miles in any direction that it looks in. So it has a keen vision of the destination. Before it takes the journey, it's clear on where it's going and then jumps off of the branch, jumps into the air, and zooms in on its target. And so I think that a lot of people operate in uncertainty. They are not clear on what they want, where they're going, and that's why this thing seems so impossible. And so when you know what it is that you want, you can get there. And being an explorer requires taking risks. Calculated risks. Being an explorer requires that you get beyond your comfort level because it's not going to feel comfortable. Being an explorer means managing your emotions because there's a little bit of fear, there's a little bit of anxiety, there's a little bit of uncertainty, there's doubt that sets in. But what happens is we allow these emotions and these thoughts to control us and keep us from doing what we ultimately want to do. But the proper management of those emotions and of those thoughts and fighting through it will allow you to accomplish what it is that you want. So you can have a better marriage after an affair if you're willing to put in that work. I think there's another comment here. I would like to talk to you on the phone after the show. Of course. Well, that's what we're here for, guys. That's why we want you to reach out to us. And the way that you do is by simply dialing 678-200-8996 or just set up a discovery call and we'll get with you to help you in your situation. Guys, I just want to leave you with something. There's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing that's not impossible for you. If you're hoping for something different in your relationship, then you need to find examples of other couples who've made it. You need to constantly be filled with stories and testimonials of those who have actually done it. And the more you begin to see what others have endured, you believe what's possible for you. Yes, you've gone through pain. Yes, you've gone through hurt. You're struggling with trusting. You're struggling with forgiving. You're struggling with communication. And so what you want to do is you want to throw in the towel and call it quits because you say that there's nothing beyond what we currently have. And I'm here to tell you that I'm sitting in this seat, talking into this microphone, looking into this screen because I am a living, talking, breathing, walking testimony of what can happen when you put in the work. You can make it on the other side. And if we can make it, you can make it. So let's link up together and figure out how we can do this to get you to a better place. Listen, guys, hope you got something out of today. It was just a little moment of inspiration to get you through your day. We would love to hear from you. We would love to connect with you. Listen, dial us, call us, go to the website. You're watching the Couples Academy show. Be here tomorrow. I'm excited about tomorrow. I got something special for you. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we've been working on it. We've been preparing you for it. So tune in tomorrow for another great episode. See ya. Deuces.
If you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you're interested in one of our restoration programs, contact us today at couplesacademy.org.